I built this ice bath for under $200. If you want an ice bath but you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on it, let me show you how to make one for a tenth of the price. By the way, this is the second ice bath that I've made, so I am quite the ice bath construction expert at this point. If you were wondering, this is about 4 degrees Celsius, and yes, it is uncomfortable. Yes, it is very, very cold, but there are a lot of great health benefits to an ice bath. So if it's something that you're interested in looking into, but don't want to spend thousands of dollars on it, making one yourself is really not that difficult, and it is a great option to save money, but also get the great health benefits of an ice bath.
So step one, the first thing you need to do is you need to actually get yourself a chest freezer. It literally just has to be a chest freezer, and this should go without saying, but you should be able to fit inside of it. So preferably something around 300 liters. The bigger the better, but the more you get, the larger it is, the more expensive it's going to be. The first ice bath I ever made, which is this one here, this cost I think $500, but it's about 3 times the size of this one here, which I picked up for about $100. So depending on how big you want to get, it's going to be more expensive, but bigger ones are certainly going to be better, but whatever your budget is, just go for that. So this one here cost me $100, and it's about 300 liters. It's all I really needed. One thing I will say though, with choosing your ice bath, is choose something which has a solid base. You want a very solid foundation, because the reason that we're not using this anymore, even though it's a significantly better ice bath, is that one of our friends, who shall not be named, but he weighs about 100 kilos, he basically stood in the middle of this ice bath, put his whole body standing up for maybe 5 minutes, and it basically put a crack in the ice bath, started leaking constantly, and we could not fix it. So having something with a solid base, so if you have those porky friends come over, they're not going to destroy your ice bath, is an important thing to do. But just choose any chest freezer you want. It just has to be a chest freezer, preferably something with a thick base, and of course you have to fit inside of it. If you were wondering what this chest freezer is now doing, it is now our meat freezer, and the meat freezer is looking pretty barren right now, but at its prime, this thing is filled to the brim with steak and beef mince, which is pretty good use of a no longer functional ice bath. But as you can see, it is significantly bigger than our new ice bath. However, our new one does not leak. Real quick, if you are an entrepreneur and you would like help reaching peak mental and physical performance so you can grow yourself and your business, then I recommend working with us. I'll leave a link in the description below. Otherwise, let's move on to step 2, and that is sealing your ice bath. So on the corners of your ice bath, you will see that we've added this sealant here, and what the sealant does is it prevents any of the water from going through the cracks. So I'll put on screen a photo of the sealant I used. But what you want to do is you want to add sealant to all of the edges that are potentially exposed to leakage. As you can see here, we have a drain, and I open up the flap of this drain and just filled this with sealant as well. I want all of the corners of this ice bath to be completely sealed off, so that there's no possibility for leaking, because that's the only issue that you're going to have with your ice bath. So getting a proper sealant is going to be pretty important. Again, I've probably left an image on the screen here, but it's going to be a pool sealant or some kind of sealant that's going to completely waterproof the ice bath, because the worst thing and the most frustrating thing that can happen is for there to be leaks in your ice bath, and that is completely preventable if you seal this thing properly and you don't have fat friends standing in the middle of it. So with the sealant, add it to all of the corners, all of the sides that may be exposed to leakage, and leave it there for 24 hours before doing anything else. Don't touch it, just let it dry, let it seal up, seal all those cracks before doing anything else. So 24 hours, just don't touch it. So now that you've hopefully waited 24 hours, it is time to fill this thing. Literally just grab a hose, turn it on, and fill this thing up. Important thing to note is that we don't want to fill this thing all the way to the top, because when you sit inside of it, if you filled it all the way to the top, it's going to flow over the edges. So depending on how big it is, it's going to depend on how much you can fill it. But for this, because it's so small, I only really fill this up to about halfway, because when I get inside of it, it goes up pretty much as far as it can go. So definitely err on the side of caution. add less water and then get in there, and if you feel like you can add more, add more. But I would recommend not overdoing it at the start. Around 50% of the ice bath is probably a good place to start, unless you got a really big one. So, as you can see, you can just put the hose in and you can just close the lid on it and leave it. I'm not sure how you can hear me right now, but all you need to do is put the hose in there, put the lid on it, angle it down, and then just leave it for a good 15 minutes, checking on it every once in a while. And as we can see here, the ice bath is nice and filled. Beautiful blue water. That's all we need. Now we can leave things as is, and this would be a pretty damn good ice bath, but it's just missing something, because the problem is, if we just fill the ice bath, we have it sealed up nicely, and we plug it into the wall so it starts freezing the water, what's going to happen is, yes, it's going to start freezing the water, but it's not going to stop until you unplug it. And the problem is, that means that you're going to have to plug it and unplug it all the time, and either it's going to completely freeze over, or it's not going to be the temperature you want. There is a way that we can completely remove this complete headache for $30, so it would be definitely something that I would add. And that is a brewing thermometer. I'll pop up a photo on screen, but basically what you want is something like this, which is an Inkbird brewing thermometer. So what I can do is I can manually set the temperature I want within a certain range, and when this temperature goes over the certain temperature I would like, it turns on the ice bath and starts freezing the water until it goes down to the minimum temperature I want. And the way it does that is it uses this little probe which you put into the water, and it manages the temperature. So what I currently have this set at is a minimum of 4 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 6 degrees Celsius. So right now, because we've just refilled the water is, as you can see, at 15 degrees. What it's going to do is it's going to drop the temperature of the water down to about 4 degrees Celsius and then turn off. And then the temperature will slowly rise up to 6 degrees, and then it will turn back on and go down to 4. This is going to save you a lot of energy, save you a lot of time and a lot of headache having to worry about freezing over your ice bath or not actually having a cold ice bath. So adding this will actually get you a properly functional, low maintenance ice bath. One thing I don't hear enough people talk about is that your ice bath does get dirty. This isn't some set and forget thing where you just put water in here and it's great forever. It is evergreen in the sense that eventually it will turn green, and if you don't change the water, it will remain green. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. As you can see, I've left this for a while. This water is actually pretty damn gross right now. So you're going to want to have an efficient way of cleaning this water. Most of the chest freezers you buy, if not all of them, are going to come with a drainage hole at the bottom of the freezer. We don't want to use this to drain out the water. We actually want to seal this up using the sealant that I showed you earlier. The reason being, we don't want any leaks in the ice bath at all. The way we want to get the water out is siphoning the water out using this hose. Now, this was a very foreign concept to me when I first bought an ice bath, or when I first made one, but let me show you how to do this, because I think it's a pretty important thing to know how to do if you want to make one of these yourself. So first thing we want to do is just put the hose into this manky water and try and get it right into the corner, or right at the bottom, so it is as deep into the water as you can possibly go. So from there, what we want to do, and bear with me because it's going to look weird, is that we actually want to suck through this hose, so we actually start pulling water out the ice bath. And I'm not exactly sure the physics behind this, but when you do this, and if you keep this hose quite low to the ground, it's just going to keep flowing out, and the water is going to keep siphoning through and out, and it's basically going to empty the entire ice bath. So I'll show you what I mean by this. Okay. So as you can see, the water is flowing now, and if I just leave this here, it is going to continue to pour out effectively until the ice bath is completely empty, which is a pretty nice hack. So you can just leave this here. I'm going to move it because it's going to start damaging my electrics. But yeah, I would just drain this out into your garden. As you can see here, it's just going to keep draining out until the ice bath is completely empty. So you can just leave this for 10 to 15 minutes, and by the end of it, this entire ice bath is going to be completely drained, and we can clean out the filthy water on the inside. So the hose has done its job now, and as you can see, it has got rid of basically all of the water. As you can see as well, it is pretty grossy what the ice bath can look like if you leave it a bit too long, as we did here. But that has got rid of the majority of the water. And now from here, you can either choose to just use a little towel and wipe it down, or what I personally like doing, which is the benefit of having a smaller ice bath, is you can just flip it. So just gonna put it on its side, and that is gonna get out the rest of the water. So as you can see here, the rest of the water is coming out, and that's basically it. That's how you change the water. So that is how you can build an ice bath for under $200. It's always something that I've wanted, but it's something I thought I could not afford. On the contrary, you can actually do this very, very cheaply. So hopefully there's some of you out there that were able to make a pretty sick ice bath out of this video. That's the plan anyway. Look, if you like this video, if you got some value out of it, please like and subscribe. There's probably a video around here that you might be interested in, and I'll see you there.